My name is Scott Jakovich. I'm the manager of California's Local Technical Assistance Program Center and the program coordinator of the Southwest Transportation Workforce Center, our two hosts for today's session. Both of these centers operate out of California State University, Long Beach, Center for International Trade and Transportation, and share a common strategic alliance with Caltrans, our state DOT, and the Federal Highway Administration. Something that's common across all of these organizations is that we prioritize professional capacity building as a key factor to building the 21st century transportation workforce. And we see continuing education, job training for pathway development, and programs like Front Range Community College's Highway Maintenance Management Degree program as essential tools to building an agile and capable workforce, which is why we're very pleased to be able to host today's webinar. To facilitate the rest of our session, I'd like to introduce the program director for the Highway Maintenance Management Program, Susan Blairjon. Susan joined Front Range Community College after an impressive 32 years with the Connecticut Department of Transportation, which I have no doubt has been a key factor in the broad success of this new program. Susan, turn it over to you.
Thanks, Scott. It's great to have everybody here today. We've been excited about this for some time, so welcome. I'm going to just introduce quickly. I'm just going to go over our list of panelists, and then I'm going to invite each of our panelists to come in and start the conversation. So we have Dr. Nicholas Spezza, the Dean of Instruction at Front Range Community College, joining us. Myself, I'm the Director of the Highway Maintenance Management Program here at Front Range. We also have Heather Carlson, our Colorado LTAP Director, joining us today to share some of the partnership work that we're doing. We have Kevin McVitie from Colorado DOT, the Technical Training Program Manager at CDOT. We also have two of our graduates, Rob MacArthur and Don Strange, who have become student ambassadors to our program. They're joining us to give the student perspective today. And we also have one of our private partners, Sean Severin of Colorado Barricade, to talk about some of the work we're doing now with our high school kids. So welcome to all of our panelists. And I'm gonna just kick it off with handing it over to Dr. Spezza to give us a little bit of the history on the program. It's all yours, Nick.
Thank you so much, Sue. Good morning, everybody. So really what I want to talk about are many thanks for the 3 Ps. And I've got two versions of 3 Ps here. I'm sure you've all heard of public-private partnerships. And just by the faces and the organizations that you see here, when CDOT and local industries originally approached the college to say, hey, we'd like some help in setting up some professional training for our industry incumbents because they need help with degrees that look like what other people might be bringing in to be competitive. We said, what a great opportunity for us to partner together. So we have partnered with the National Highway Institute, with Colorado Department of Transportation, with local service providers, with business. And those partnerships are fantastic. And really, the 3 Ps I want to bring up now are partnership, patience, and professionalism. It's taken us years to get where we are today. I've been with the college about 5 years now. And it took about 2 of those years, maybe 2.5 of those years to get the Highway Maintenance Management degree approved. And it's taken us another year or so to get us where we are, where we're actually serving folks from across the country. We have students from 14 states currently enrolled in the degree plan. And a lot of that is true, Scott, a lot of that is due to the work that Sue has done. And we also have such a great partnership with our local Department of Transportation that we've also expanded our offerings. And Heather will talk about what we're doing in local technical assistance in a minute. So really, my point is really to make sure that I'm saying thank you to all of our partners. And if the story has a core to it and the heart of our story, why we're being successful in the growth and development of this program, it is because of our partnerships. And we so appreciate, I appreciate everybody on the call today and all the other folks have had a great hand. Pat Lester and Paul Woods as part of the introduction of this opportunity in the first place. So with that, Sue, I'll hand it back to you, and thanks for everything.
Thanks, that was great. So now I'm going to go over, I'm going to continue with my slideshow here, and I'm going to go over I'm going to give you all an update of what's been happening with our degree program. And at the end, I'm going to introduce you to some of the work we're doing with high school students here in Colorado. Before I really get started, though, I want to make mention of the fact that all of the photographs you're going to see in the backgrounds of my slides were submitted by students over the last 6 semesters who have gone through the Highway 101 course. So I use them when I go out and do these presentations to show showcase the work that they're doing and to really, and they love seeing it out there. And I think new students are waiting to see theirs. So enjoy those while we're going through it. But like I said earlier, and just like Nick said, we started this program back in 2019 in the fall semester with 20 students in our Highway 101 course. Since then, 56, and that includes the students who are just finishing the Highway 101 course this semester, have completed the course, and 27 so far are continuing. I don't have data on the semester that's happening right now. So the program is set up with 5 general ed courses. It's a 60 credit associate's degree in applied science program. It's got 5 general ed courses, 6 management classes, 7 core highway courses, and 2 to 4 electives in the HWY electives. And those are things like CDL and FEMA training and stuff like that. 1/3 of the program is based on prior learning assessments of all of the training that all of the participants out there listening today are getting on the job already. We're giving them, where they're earning college credits for things like traffic control supervisor, asset management training, preservation and preventive measures training, equipment training, various things like that. So that we're assessing those on the job training sessions, and we're awarding credit for a lot of it through crosswalks, transcription agreements, or the students will take exams or submit portfolios. The courses, the whole entire program is completely online in a partially asynchronous format where the students just have to meet deadlines every week. So they don't actually have to go in and meet at a specific time every day or twice a week or whatever it happens to be. This is one of my favorite slides to present. All of our 3 graduates so far are Phi Theta Kappa honor students, which is remarkable. And I know that putting all of our graduates up there is, you know, people don't know that there are only 3 so far, but I think that's pretty remarkable anyway. The average GPA for the entire program, all of the students going through the program right now, the last time I looked at it was 3.53. That's pretty good too. I'm pretty pleased with that. The students currently represent 11 state departments of transportation, 17 public works agencies, and 4 private contractors in 14 different states right now. I'm hoping we add to that with a large group of folks for the next semester. Here they are all over the country. You can see them. We've got 3 in Washington State, several in Colorado, a couple in Texas, and then all over the East Coast. And I'd love to fill in a little bit more with the rest of the state. So they're talking about us in Texas, Colorado, Washington, Nevada. We have 1 tribal nation, the Rama tribal, Navajo tribal nation in New Mexico sends a student. Indiana, Illinois, North Carolina, Maryland, Virginia, Connecticut, Vermont, South Dakota, and Ohio to date. This is a slide of our partners. So I want to put this up here because we will partner with anyone who's giving industry training that meets the competencies that we're awarding credit for. If you're doing it in your agency, I want to come in and work with your agency to crosswalk that work so you don't have to take another course or spend any more money. And some of them are Maryland Department of Transportation, Colorado Department of Transportation, Roy Jorgensen, one of our private contractors. We're crosswalking National Highway Institute courses, FEMA courses, and Loveland Barricade is another one of our partners, and Sean will talk about that later. Colorado LTAP, North Carolina LTAP, and Nevada LTAP. We all have crosswalks. We have crosswalks with those partners right now too, as well as ATSA. Now here's what I want to introduce today for the first time for all of you guys. This is our high school internship program. It's getting a lot of attention when I go out and talk about this. We piloted this program in spring of 2022, so this past semester was the start. We started with 2 students. It's a 3-part program, and what they do is for the first 2 weeks of the semester, the students complete an OSHA 10 certificate, and then they get the last 13 weeks. They're right in line with our degree students doing the Highway 101 course, but it's been reworked for them a little bit. And then right immediately upon finishing the Highway 101 course, the students go into an internship at with one of our partners. So benefits to the agency for participating in our high school program. We know, all of you know, there is a serious need to fill the vacancies out there in public works and departments of transportation. So we're hoping to create a pipeline for young people to enter the industry, create a knowledgeable candidate pool, because right now you're hiring from a candidate pool that has no knowledge of what you're doing on the job or what to expect for work, and to develop a professional workforce who are trained in all the aspects of highway maintenance that they'll be exposed to. And the benefit to the student, first of all, it gives the student an opportunity who may not be a college track student. You know, there are so many of them out there, and who have no idea that this is a job that gives them an incredible opportunity and could become a career for them. Offers them full-time employment immediately upon graduation, and again, could lead to a pretty good career for any of them. And this is Don. I just have to put Don's picture up there everywhere I go, and pretty soon I'll have to get a group picture of our next graduates. But anybody that wants to get a hold of me can reach me right here. And I guess for now I'll leave this slide up, but Don is our first graduate, and we are so incredibly proud of him. And Rob is our first Colorado graduate. And then we have one other graduate, our first CDOT graduate, who's not on this panel today. So that is the overview of our program. Next, I would like to bring in, if you don't mind me leaving up this slide, or no, you know what, actually, I'm going to take it down so Heather can share her slide. But I want to let Heather Carlson, our LTAP director, take over from here. Heather?
Sure. I am going to do my best at sharing my screen, so stand by. Okay. Are we good to go?
We're good.
Okay. Man, I think I'm just like Sue. We could talk about our programs and everything that's going on with them endlessly, but we won't for you today. What I want to focus on today is kind of the partnership between Front Range Community College and the Highway Maintenance Management Program that you've been discussing. But first, I'm going to back up a little bit, because inevitably there are people who don't know what LTAP is, and we use it so often and so frequently that the assumption is that everybody knows. So just to maybe oversimplify for some, or to introduce for others, LTAP is a grant program that's funded by 3 entities. It starts at the federal highways, and then it's supported in part by the local Department of Transportation, and typically a Center for Higher Education. So with Colorado LTAP, we have FHWA, CDOT, and then Front Range Community College. And I couldn't ask for a better place for Colorado LTAP to be, because of the highway maintenance degree program and the support and the motivation that we get from Front Range and from CDOT and FHWA to drive our programs, but along a similar path. Okay, so how our programs interact. This is just a snapshot of the courses that LTAP, which is, let me back up. We have our sponsorship. LTAP provides and helps subsidize training for local agencies across the state. So if we have any municipality, any county, we provide training under any umbrella that really relates to maybe public works, road and bridge, and streets departments. So if they need the training, we will do our best to find the instructor, the curriculum, and to facilitate the training in all corners of the state. This program, LTAP, is available in all 50 states and Puerto Rico, as well as a tribal, they call those TTAPs, a tribal entity. So there are 52 programs nationwide that help with training this kind of sector. So now we can get to the programs that we offered in just the fall alone. And if you take a look at them, you'll see that these are going to really overlap and be similar to what the students in the highway maintenance degree program are going to see. And so Sue and I have been working diligently, and we just put time on the calendar for this summer to make sure that as LTAP offers courses, they align with the highway maintenance learning outcomes and objectives. That way, participants can come to LTAP classes through their employer and receive or crosswalk their skills for credit to the highway program at Front Range. Not only that, but I'll highlight the winter maintenance snow removal because Sue actually teaches that class for Colorado LTAP. I will tell you that Rob here on this panel instructed a class for us on Monday. So there's a lot of integration, not only from a topic standpoint, but from shared resources, shared instructors, and you can really kind of get that end-to-end consistency, whether you're working within a local agency, participating in an LTAP program, or part of the highway maintenance degree program. And I like to think that there's a bridge to each, no matter where you're sitting. Talking a little bit, and this is just the Colorado insight, in terms of outreach, it's similar to what Sue was showing, but we're really cognizant of making sure that participants or students or employees in agencies and across the state have access to the resources that they need. And so this is just our distribution with the sessions that we approve or that we held in the fall and where participants came from. So you can see we do have a lot of participants from across the state, much like Sue has participants and students from across the country. And I think that, you know, if you think about each individual LTAP center and their broad reach within their state, we've got a good portion of the country covered, I would think. At the same time, we want to make sure that along with educational resources, there's also a networking opportunity, people to lean on, people to ask. And at LTAP, we have an advisory board, of which Rob is a part of, and so is Sue. Kevin is also on it, so a lot of this panel. So we're bringing in our sponsors, and again, bridging the local agencies with the educational opportunities and then the LTAP centers. In Colorado, we really focus on getting representation on our advisory board across the state to make sure that each section is represented. And what I think is great in this spot is if there's a student that needs input or resources or help or is working on a certain project, LTAP can certainly help them connect to advisors and participants across the state. So just expanding the network as well for the students. One thing that LTAP does, and this just kind of illustrates again how all of us have coordinated but similar efforts, is really looking into innovation. Sue showed those pictures in her program that the students had taken. Well, those pictures may spark an idea on how to prevent, or the classes may spark an idea on how to address situations. Colorado LTAP has an innovation contest. Colorado Department of Transportation has an innovation submission program, Lean Everyday Ideas. They have a few. And then Federal Highways actually has it's called Build a Better Mousetrap. That's their innovation program as well. And you can participate in all three, but it really is, it takes the initiative, the student or the participant, whether you're working for the agency or a class or, you know, just driving around, to participate in the innovations. And that's how we share it with one another. And it's all part of the larger growing process. We also collaborate in other ideas, not just classes, obviously innovation. One thing that we do is we do a Tuesday tailgate talk on safety so that the crews can get their talks that they need. And no surprise here, but Sue does all of our safety talks for us. So it's a really great partnership between Front Range, the maintenance program, and LTAP, but these are on demand. So anybody, whether it's students doing research or crews getting ready to start their week, they can download these and watch them as they have time. The other thing that we do is a Wednesday workshop where we bring in industry professionals to talk about the latest topic. One of the things that I remember just the last week or week before was a non-nuclear asphalt density measurement product. Didn't know much about it, but that's the kind of innovation that we're looking for, that we're looking to spread the word on and get the students information on. So not only do they have access to the program at Front Range, but they also, I sit right across the hall from Sue, they have access to LTAP as well. I'm going to end with this picture. It's the chill zone. And yes, I'll cheese it up while saying, come chill with us. We just happened to get this table at one of the conferences we went to. But I think it's a really nice illustration because if you look below all of the bright lighting, you see Sue sitting at an LTAP table. And if you look really closely, in that white hard hat is Rob. And so it's, and this is, how we all kind of are constantly connected, whether it's in classes, it's resources, it's innovation, or it's at conferences. within the community, we're all integrated, and I can't say enough about the highway degree program. We're here, and it's been beneficial for us, and would encourage anybody with questions or interest to reach out. I think that's it. I don't know how I did on time, but
Thanks, Heather. That's great. Kevin, do you want to come in and talk about our relationship with CDOT and some of the partnerships we've got with that and a little bit of the history that you know?
Sure. So my name is Kevin McVitie. I'm the Maintenance and Operations Training Manager for Colorado DOT. I manage our Maintenance Training Academy and about 20 other programs on the technical side of the house. We do a little bit of everything from leadership and supervisory training to equipment training, CDL programming, apprentice programs, and anything technical in nature, really. I apologize, I don't have a PowerPoint, but really just kind of wanted to speak to some of the crosswalks that we've been able to establish with Sue, how we share our resources, not only between my program here at CDOT and with Sue at the college, but also with Colorado LTAP, and how we're really leveraging those partnerships, those collaborations, to help support students in this program and ultimately their success in that program through graduation and beyond. We're really trying to create some career paths for folks in the highway maintenance realm, and doing everything we can at the state level, the college level, the county level to make sure that we have supports in place for folks in that program, and then, you know, wherever they go after graduation. So with regard to the crosswalks, I've been involved with the associate's degree program almost since its inception, and really working alongside Sue, alongside Nick and others at the college, Rob at Douglas County, to get all of the pieces and parts in place. And then what do we do after that? So a lot of the programming, and especially with regard to the CDOT employees who are in the program now, we work with them to make sure that any training they've received in the past, if we can get them credit for that, we're going to do that. So I work pretty closely with Heather to provide transcripts just out of our learning management system and get those over to the college for classes like NHI's Maintenance Leadership Academy. I think that's probably one of the bigger ones. We run about 60 people a year through that program, and they get college credit for having completed that certificate program. We've worked with the college on our equipment endorsements. We do a whole lot of equipment training here at CDOT, our snow plows, our wing plows, our front end loaders. We have a heavy equipment operator 3 training program that kind of runs the gamut of all of our maintenance and construction equipment. We just started our own in-house entry-level driver training for CDL as part of the new regulations that came out in February. So we have a crosswalk for CDL licensure. Some of our leadership content here at CDOT is also crosswalked with some of the components in Sue's program. And then I think the other big piece, in addition to the Maintenance Leadership Academy, is probably the traffic control curriculum. Almost everybody in highway maintenance has to go through either flagger, traffic control technician, or TCS, or a combination of all 3 of those. I'm working pretty closely with not only with the college on the crosswalk piece, but also with our contractors that we use for construction projects. We are trying to standardize traffic control curriculum across the state so that everybody working on a project in the state of Colorado gets the same training, and hopefully from the same or similar training providers. So we're really looking to not only standardize these resources with regard to Sue's program, but with regard to how CDOT does business in the state, not only with the contractors, but also with our local and municipal partners as well. When it comes to shared resources as government employees, I don't own any of the content that my team builds. We share it with everybody. We share it with Sue's program. I do a lot of resource sharing with Colorado LTAP. If they need a class and we have one built, I will share those resources with Heather and her team so they can deliver that class at the local level. We've shared content with some of our municipal partners. I've had other DOTs and other state LTAPs reach out to us for content. So we do a ton of content sharing. We're shifting a little bit here at CDOT from just having kind of a library of PowerPoint presentations to deliver to actually developing toolkits where folks have resources to take with them, be it like a planning spreadsheet or something along those lines where they have a concrete thing to take with them after the class. So we're building out a lot of templates and things of that nature where it's not just attending the class and getting the PowerPoint slides, but also having something to help you do your job day in and day out. So we're kind of shifting away from just content to having those toolkits available as well. And at the end of the day, all of this kind of folds up into that student success piece of the equation. How do we make sure that students have what they need when they need it? And I think a lot of it, especially with our advisory board here with the college, myself, Sue, Heather, Nick, Rob MacArthur, we're on the phone connected with each other all day, every day. There not too many weeks go by where we don't have conversations about an issue, a success, whatever the conversation may be. We have a high degree of collaboration across the team. And I think that's really what makes this program so successful. And not only the programming at the college, but it also impacts the work that I do here at CDOT. We get calls all the time from folks who heard about us from LTAP, who heard about different programs through Sue's program. So it's a lot of word of mouth advertising, but the fact that we are connected the way we are, I think really helps not only the associate's degree program and its success, but the success of our programs at each of the agencies that we work for. So with that, Sue, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thanks, Kevin. I just want to, and you're probably going to shoot me after for saying this, but I just want to mention how generous CDOT has been to our students as they make their way through the program with respect to some of the NHI courses that were offered over the last few years. And when NHI comes up with the deal, Kevin is more than willing to pass on the savings opportunity or even let some of our public works and outside students attend those courses. So we are grateful for that. Thank you, Kevin.
Yeah, you bet.
Next up is going to be Rob and Don Strange, Rob MacArthur and Don Strange, our two student ambassadors, to give the student perspective of the program. So I'll let you two fight it out for who goes first.
Rob goes first.
Just because you graduated first.
Trying to be gracious.
In dealing with calls and inquiries from students, I would have to say that there are a number of questions that are they're repetitive. How long is the course going to take? How much time per credit hour? How much is it going to cost? And really those things are very dependent upon the individual and the agency that they work for. I took 4 years to do the course, and I did 3 credits per semester, 3 semesters per year. And I was able to get the 36 credits that I needed through the management and the general ed side, and the other 24 I picked up through PLA, which is the prior learning assessment. And I think, Don, you probably shared or had a similar experience.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, when I started the program, I hadn't been to college. This was my first college experience. So I had to get all the basics, and then I worked with Sue for the portfolios for the PLA.
One of the other questions that I get quite a bit is in conjunction with residency. A lot of people think that has to do with where they live physically. And in reality, this is an online program. So residency is actually established utilizing any 15 credits in the general ed, in the management courses, or even in challenge exams. And did you take challenge exams, Don?
I did not. Sue and I discussed it. What I wanted to have when I was finished was some documents to hand down to show. I got several of my staff members here who are either enrolled or on the path to be enrolled. So I chose to go that route just so I'd have a document to hand off.
One of the other big challenge questions that I end up with from students who are calling in, because they've been enrolled, they've taken some classes, they're intrigued, but they really are wondering where they're going to go and why they should continue with the course. And I'm quick to point out that the majority of administrators in our industry are looking for people who have a balanced portfolio and can bring to the succession planning table more than just their experience. That they're looking for people who can budget plan and who can communicate well and who can manage conflict and change and labor relations and all that sort of thing. Is that, from your perspective as an employer and an administrator, is that your perspective?
Yeah, so what we're doing here is for part of our staff development, we tailored our in-house training. Most of the things that my guys are taking now here already crosswalked Front Range for, the MLA, excuse me, and some of the other things that we do, the FEMA training. So, my goal is, I don't know how much longer I'm going to be doing this. I'm trying to bring up the people who are going to take over after me and continue this. So it's all about staff development and giving them, not just a degree or something to hang on the wall, but the real tools. That's one thing I've said over and over again about this program is it translates into the field to what these guys are actually doing. Not only is it beneficial to have a degree, but content wise, this is stuff that is going to help them professionally for the rest of their career.
That's goes along with one of the questions I get asked a lot, and it has to do with the benefit and the gain from taking the course. And for me, going beyond what I'm doing right now, eventually, you're right, we're not going to be in the industry, or not in the same capacity anyway. And I'm leaning into the education side of this a little bit more. And as Heather alluded to, I've begun teaching classes at LTAP, and there's going to be a future in online as well with Front Range Community College. So that is a direction that I'm going, but I'm also telling the younger folks that are coming up through that it's going to be their turn, and they're going to need to step up, and they're going to need to run this show, and we're counting on them to do that very thing. Is that kind of your experience?
Yeah, one of my guys that are going through the class right now, he's in Sue's class as we speak. He was a field tech, got promoted up to a crew leader. Now he's the field supervisor. And there's a clear path of succession for him. I have two younger guys in a similar boat. They started out as tech ones, now they're both tech threes, and they're enrolled. And I'm actually working with them through Sue to get some of the crosswalk stuff done already, to get them on that path. One of the things that I think Rob's probably seen, and I know I do, is when you're being an ambassador or mentoring these guys, these folks, a lot of times they get frustrated or things seems like it's going slow, and we have to keep encouraging them to stay on that path and remind them why it's important, and not just, again, I keep saying this, not just for the degree or for more money, but to at the end of the day provide a better product for their citizens, the taxpayers where they're working. So it's a big picture thing, and I've been at this for a long time, and I got to say, while I have the mic for a second, a huge thanks to Nick and Sue, all you guys, Paul Woods, everybody who got this going. It's been a dream of mine and a lot of people in my position for years, and now it's happening. And it's a big deal. It really is a big deal.
One of the other things that I'll add to that before we pass the mic here is that Front Range Community College has recognized the fact that we're dealing with what I call older working learners, or owls. And when you get into the adult learning, it's a different group of people from students. And the Front Range Community College people have addressed that. And they are serious about trying to improve the learning experience for adult learners, especially those in rural areas who have connectivity issues. And I think that it's a big step on their part to come forward and to address that. It's a topic that other organizations are discussing, but again, Front Range is really leading the way. And in an environment where leadership is the key word and term, I'm glad to be part of this organization and everything that they're doing for our industry. I think with that, we'll probably hand it back over to Sue.
Thanks, guys. I couldn't be prouder of both of you, first of all. If we had to hand pick two ambassadors, I don't think we could have done any better than the two of you. So we're very proud of you. And I want to say that Don has gone to great lengths to align the training that Highlands Village, Texas is giving to their employees perfectly with our degree program, so that anybody that takes his training down there will already be lined up for crosswalks, so that they won't have to take another class. They won't have to spend any more money on the highway courses. So that's a huge benefit for anybody that goes to work for Highlands Village Public Works. So thank you, Don. Next, I want to bring in, and this is last but certainly not least, Sean Severin from Loveland Barricade to share some of the work we're doing with the high school kids. Sean and I met at a conference a couple of years ago, and he shares our passion for this work and the folks that do it. So Sean, it's all yours.
All right, thank you. No, I'm not. Sorry. I got assistant, my wife telling me to get off mute. This whole program kind of fits real well with what I look at in the industry. Like, we met at Snow and Ice. I've been in this industry for 30 years. My father was in it. The problem we got in the private industry, more than I think the government, is there's nobody coming out of high school looking for this. There's nobody coming out of college looking to do these jobs. There are some pretty good jobs out there, some pretty good money that you can make. I fell into this job by accident, and I've raised a couple kids on it. Now I own my own business. So, you know, I think we need to get that out. Two folds on why I like it. One is my existing employees. I have a lot of them like me that did not ever have a chance to go through college. I guess some of them maybe not just a chance, but no desire. And now I have existing workers that can get a degree by what they're doing at work as well. And I've seen a great, we only have one person in it right now. He's learning what it's like to go back through school, but he's pushing through it. But what I've heard from him is he's asked for additional training from me that also goes along with his schooling, but it helps me, and not just me, my company and my industry. He's the first one going through it. We're kind of sending him to see how this goes. We're paying for it for him. And honestly, in the future, we're going to probably look at doing some kind of scholarship to bring people in, offer that up. And then, you know, we look at it as if we're helping them out and they move on, they go to a city or they go somewhere else and they're being safe and they're moving the industry forward, I'm more than happy for them to start here. Second part of that is the high school kids, the internships. You had a couple come through here. They looked like they were a little shocked. Actually, I had my safety manager in the office with me that took them around. They looked like they were a little overwhelmed because they're most likely like me and everybody else in my industry. We didn't know that this thing existed and that it was a private industry doing it, not the government. So it's a little overwhelming to come in, but the great part about bringing students in, interns in, is they get awareness that these jobs are out there. And I'm kind of approaching this as maybe getting them here, getting them in a foothold. If some want to move on, that's great. But we bring them in, they get experience and exposure to DOTs, local municipalities, utility companies. They get to see all these different things. And when you have students come out, they should be looking for what they're wanting to do in their future, instead of just jumping right off the bat into full-fledged college all day. This way they can see what they want to do. There's a lot of us out there that don't know what we want to do until we get older. I still don't. So it's great in that aspect. And I really like the idea of the exposure. We really need to get exposure for these jobs. CDOT's been hurting for, younger people coming into the industry, driving it forward. I'm on the same thing with Kevin, where we're working on workforce advancement. kind of seems like everything's come together at once, and it's really great to see. And I'm just really happy you guys are doing it. I'm thankful you're doing it, and we'll be a partner in this for a long time to come.
Thanks so much, Sean. Yes, our high school students enjoyed the tour. We took them on to 2 places. We brought them down to Loveland Barricade and did our tour down there. We also went out to Larimer County Public Works, and they saw a gravel roads operation. And for the first time, these students are aware, you're right, that these jobs exist, that this could be a career for them. And the look of surprise on their faces when they first of all saw your automated flagger and things like that. I think they are able to see themselves doing some of these jobs. So they were excited, and you'll be hearing from some of them. So thank you, Sean, for all of that. I guess now we'll open it up for questions. If anybody has any questions, I'll watch the chat, or if you want to go ahead and unmute and ask your question. And I just have to say before we get to the questions, there are some other people out there that I recognize, and you know who you are. If you have anything to say, go ahead and unmute and join in the conversation. But anybody else has questions, feel free to ask.
Good afternoon. This is Jason Humphrey with the South Dakota Department of Transportation. I have a quick question for you. We're going through kind of a process where we're doing something very similar with our maintenance teams, looking for some good classes to inject into our training program. Is there an opportunity for some of our team to jump in and take some of these classes, but maybe not enroll in the entire curriculum to go from beginning to end?
If you're asking about the general education classes and the management classes, absolutely.
Okay.
Anybody can go in and take those, of course. The rest of them, the highway courses, like the specific stuff related to the job, the asset management, the preservation, the traffic control, those we're relying on the training that South Dakota DOT might be already providing to the employees. But outside of the industry specific stuff, of course, anybody can go into Front Range or any other college and take those classes. And I just want to mention, Nick, if you're in there, you can like close your ears for a second, but you know I'm doing this. One of the ways that some of our students are out-of-state students are saving money is taking some of those management and general ed classes in their own state community college system and transferring them over. I encourage them to be to have many conversations with the advisor before they do that, to make sure they're not taking classes that are not equivalent to the ones we're offering. But they are saving a lot of money that way. And at the end of the day, they can transfer them all back and only need those 15 residency required credits that Rob was talking about earlier. So the 45 other credits can come from anywhere. But yes, anyone can take any of those classes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Sure. Any other questions?
If I might say something real quick, Jason, you also may want to look at the National Highway Institute. They have a lot of online pavement specific training. That's how all this started for me. So that's a good resource.
You bet. Thanks.
We're also crosswalking the any South Dakota LTAP courses. I can work with your LTAP agency to get those going as well.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Sue, Clark Martin, can you hear me?
Hi, Clark.
How are you?
Great.
For putting this together. Appreciate Cal State Long Beach and Scott Jakovich effort as well. Outstanding program, and you and the whole team there and the others, CDOT, are to be commended for the effort. I know there was a joint effort with others, subject matter experts, so to speak, that put the program together. So it's really an outstanding resource. I wanted to ask a little bit about some of the comments that Sean made about high school students and engaging high school students as a kind of a pathway, the internship program and the good exposure you give them to these career opportunities. And obviously, and particularly in the trades area, there's opportunities, I think, as Sean, and I'm sure everyone would agree, for good jobs in this business, but the students aren't aware of it. And with the the exposure you give them, plus internships, certainly is a good way to kind of make them aware and open their eyes. But my question is, how do you engage with the high schools? How do you get the high school students kind of what that pool there is local high school, I'm sure. But how do you work with the high schools to get the students support and participation in the program? And do you see that as an opportunity to expand? I would think you would, but I guess I'm bringing this up because that is such a missed opportunity for us in the highway business. A lot of organizations are taking advantage of it, but frankly, we just need to do more. To the extent that programs like you're doing for high school students, as well as offering the Front Range maintenance management program to public and private sector individuals around the country is great. But talk a little bit or about the high school experience, and if Sean or some of the your other group and your people in your group want to comment, I'd certainly appreciate that as well.
Give me a jump on that, Susan, first of how I fell into it. So ours started in March of 2020 during COVID. So that year when all those kids graduated, it was just by luck that my daughter and her graduating class were not too excited to go into remote schooling. So a lot of them jumped right immediately into working with me, which was great, but it also taught me that it was a great platform for them to see different places to go. Because I have a bunch of them that are working at different companies like Martin Marietta, everybody knows. One worked here for a little bit and then ended up going over there, and he's a roller operator and loving life. He found the job that he wants to go to. Now I'm relying on Susan to find a lot of them right now, but I have put the ads out. We tried doing it. I think we really need to get into the schools, and the counselors would need to be made aware. We got to do a better job than just hoping that they come out looking for jobs. We need to go in for them and come up with different ways to engage. And like I was trying to offer the scholarship, something to get them away, similar to like the armed services. They come in there for 4 years and they get some schooling out of it, get paid, they get education and training. I'm kind of looking at doing the same thing, but I'm open for ideas on how to reach them. And I don't know. I'm too old to go back to the high school and figure out what these kids are doing anymore. I'll tell you that.
You're never too old, Sean. Let me just say that. And Rob and I can attest to that. We've been into the high schools lately. But to answer your question, Clark, the way this started was, it was actually part of our original plan to, the program was actually going to be a high school program to begin with, and the high schools weren't interested. And they brought it to our vice president, Jean Runyon at Front Range, and she said, yes, we'll take it. And then Nicholas ran with it. So that's how we got going. But it was originally going to be a high school program. So it became like the phase 2 section of our degree program. We always had that in mind, that this was going to morph into a high school program and then become a bachelor's degree later. So all of that is actually happening as we speak. But we piloted this through our concurrent enrollment program, Marty Goldberg at Front Range. So he is our high school program guru, and he kicked it off. He put all the pieces together for us to actually pilot this program in the spring of 2022. So that's how it got started. Nick, did you have anything to add to that?
I've got something I'd like to add to that, Susan, real briefly, and this is to Mark and to Sean. We talk about this program, what Front Range Community College has done, but it's really, we've built a succession plan for kids right out of the high schools, right into technical training with LTAP, right into the degree programs. And so where organizations and agencies sometimes fail to put together a succession plan, this is here for them. And they can actually look at this and have a visual concept right from high school. And that's kind of what we were seeing when we did the symposiums and whatnot at the high schools. And it was surprising how many kids responded to that and how many parents responded to that.
I would agree. I'd add one thing. Business and education are not linear anymore. It used to be, we would think about, you come out of high school, you either go to work or you go to college. Well, it's not like that anymore. What we really want to see, and I think, Sean, you hit on this, you really want young people to get a sense of an industry they might be interested in, then let's get them out there. Let's get them to experience. Maybe they go out there and they say, hey, I want to be a doctor. And then the first time they see blood and guts, they're like, oh, that's not for me. Okay, good. Let's get them that experience early. Because what happens is people go and get a little bit of training, and then they do a little more work. Maybe they get a promotion, and they hit a place where they need a little more training. Let's make those lattices of back and forth between industry, the college, other training entities, all of us, really fluid and supported, so that they are pathways to success. They are pathways where we continue to add skill sets, professionalism, and just the attainment of the basic life supports we need to be successful as human beings. I got a little philosophical there, sorry.
Oh, thank you. That was good. Yeah, the whole idea is to show these kids opportunity they would never have seen otherwise, right? And work with the schools. And Rob mentioned earlier, we've been going out. So it started with our concurrent enrollment program and the local school district here in Northern Colorado, Poudre School District, where we got our 2 students. But since then, now that we know we can do it in a real-time remote setting, or even in other ways, we're taking it out to anybody that wants it. So we're putting it out there. And if I can get students in a town or in a school district, I can work with the school district. I used to think that when we began this, we thought that the internships would be the limiting factor, that we wouldn't be able to spread it as quickly or as far as we wanted to, because we didn't know how we would work the internships. But I can tell you right now, that's not a problem. And every single public works that I speak to, or every single DOT that I have spoken to, puts up their hand when I ask who needs employees and who wants to participate in our internship program. So that isn't the issue. It's reaching the students and connecting the schools with the public work. So that's where the work's being done right now. And Rob and I have been going down there to Douglas County, and I'm actually meeting with Jefferson County next week as well to put those pieces together and make those connections and get something going in the local areas where they need it. So that's pretty much, did that answer your question, Clark?
Yeah, absolutely, Sue. Thanks. I have another question, fellow, but you're running short on time. So I want to give anybody else a chance to comment. If we have a couple minutes at the end, maybe I'll ask my other question, but thank you very much for that. Very helpful.
Sure. Anybody else have questions? Okay, so
Still open, Sue? Nobody's
go ahead,
asking questions?
all yours,
Okay,
Clark.
then maybe I do have more, and we've only got a couple minutes. Just a brief comment about, you use the term co-enrollment with the high schools. I have a sense of what that is, but can you give me a little more insight into what you mean by co-enrollment for these students?
So that's concurrent enrollment, and that is
Concurrent
where,
enrollment, yes.
right, that
Okay.
is where the high school students who are still in high school participate in some of the courses that are taking place at Front Range Community College, or any college, I guess. Is there more to that, Nick, that I don't know about?
Yeah, one of the key features that we try to encourage is that the school districts use our coursework for completion credits for the high schoolers, so that they are getting college credit through our courses, but they're also getting high school credit to finish their high school diploma simultaneously. And while the student is in that shape, the school district that they're in usually pays all of their tuition, maybe their books and fees as well. So it's a great benefit for those families with students who are still in high school. They're kind of getting a head start on a college career or a credential that will serve industry. And the financing really isn't an issue for those students. Now, when the students do move to internship, if they're not still a high school student, that's a different issue. That summer internship may be something the employer would need to pick up, or we'd need to look at scholarshiping for that. But while they're high school students, usually the districts cover at least tuition.
Right, thank you. And that is what Sean was talking about earlier, when Loveland Barricade so generously agreed to pick up the tuition for our students that may be going to work there. So thank you, Sean, for that. 2 things I also wanted to mention about the concurrent enrollment that's going on now. We're working with Poudre School District, and one of the things they asked if we could do was so right now our piloted program is for the graduating semester, so the last semester of these graduating seniors. But Poudre School District wants to open it up to juniors coming in their junior year, so they can complete the general ed, the management courses, do all of the concurrent enrollment and actually graduate only needing the pieces of the program that we're doing PLA for, which is kind of like what Nicholas was talking about earlier. It's a flip from what used to be, right? Used to be you got out of high school, you went to college and you worked. Now we're giving you the college while you're in high school, you're coming out and getting a job and you're getting the remainder of the education that you need on the job. So it's kind of flipped around. It's the way I always thought it should be. You know, you work and then you go to school. So it's actually happening that way. And we are getting a lot of interest and a lot of attention on that. So if we do expand into a more robust concurrent enrollment program, that's probably what it could look like. Any other questions? We have about 1 minute left, I think. Tom, did you have anything else to say? Scott?
No, thank you so much for joining us today, hosting this. You've got an excellent program. We appreciate your considering being a part of our day and sharing this with us.
Well, thank you for having us. We appreciate the opportunity to reach more people this way. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Scott. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Clark. Thanks, Scott.
Thanks, Scott.
We will, hopefully we have a recording of this, in which case I can post that on the NNTW site, make it available to more people. We'll announce that the recording is available as well. Share that link with everybody.
Great. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Thanks. Have a
Thank
great
you,
day.
Sue. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.